Beautiful. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good today. Thanks for asking.
So you've got this great new album coming out next week, Enuff Z'Nuff's Hard Rock Nite, the Beatles covers and solo reinterpretations album. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of that, I wanted to ask you what your first memory of the Beatles was and how that kind of affected you personally and musically.
Actually, the first time being turned on to the Beatles was through my mother and father, who are huge fans. You know, in my household, it was Black Sabbath as a kid, that is. Black Sabbath, Cream, Rare Earth, Beatles, and anything across the pond, Zeppelin. My dad liked all that rock stuff, but the Beatles had something special because those songs, those beautiful harmonies in them, the great storytelling.
Yeah.
It just really caught my attention. And when I first seen them on TV, their look, you know, four young lads, and I seen all the action that was surrounding the band. They were attacked by the audience. Women loved them beyond belief. But what most importantly caught me was John Lennon and Paul McCartney's voices, just wonderful singers. And they sounded like there was no band out there that could replicate what they were trying to do, which was writing great songs about everyday experiences that those guys went through. And they're really very well-educated cats, because those songs, boy, they really touched the nerve with not just me, but millions of people around the country.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody. Now, what made now the right time to kind of do this album? Is it something that you were thinking about for a long time, always wanted to do?
As a matter of fact, it wasn't. We've done Beatles songs in our set in the past.
Right.
We touched upon just a few of them. We were mostly focused our attention on Enuff Z'Nuff songs.
Right.
But I was asked to meet this famous agent slash promoter a few years ago, and he was putting together a super group, and he wanted me to sing in this band with Paul Gilbert, Gilby Clarke from Guns N' Roses, and I think he wanted Mike Portnoy in the band too, play drums, because Mike is a huge Beatles fan and he knows every song like the back of his hand, and a fabulous drummer as well. And we're going to go out and for 2 months put us on a bus, and we're going to go out and play nothing but Beatles songs. It was an exciting proposition. I was into it, and it just fell to the wayside. And then during the shutdown, with all the mandates and restrictions that we had to deal with, we found ourselves in the studio recording it. I started putting together a few Beatles songs with my guitar player, Tony Oscar Fennell, who coincidentally used to be the lead singer of Ultravox. He took Mid-Year's place in that band years ago. And when I mentioned the idea to him, Tony said, "This might be one of the greatest ideas you ever come up with." So we started recording songs during the whole shutdown. And one thing led to another, one song and one led to another song. And we were just bashing them out with reckless abandonment live in the studio here in my beautiful place here in Blue Island called Chips and Up Studios. And from there, we recorded like 15, 16 songs. We knocked it down to our favorite 10. Went over to Stonecutter Studio down the north side of Chicago, a guy named Kris Steinmans, who's responsible for Kiss Revenge, which is one of their best records. And he did White Light and Ozzy Osbourne, Alice Cooper. He's worked with tons of artists. And he mixed the record in a couple of weeks, and it just sounds fabulous. We knew he had something that was, the sum was bigger than the parts. When Frontiers approached us to do a few more records with them, that was the first one we turned them on to. And they said, well, send us a couple of songs, and we did, and they were blown away. And that was it. We started just to, figuring out what we're going to do coming up in the future, how we're going to do these Beatles songs mixed in with our illustrious catalog. We probably have almost 250, 300 songs on Spotify right now. So we thought, well, maybe we could do a little offshoot. You want to see Enuff Z'Nuff play and hear New Thing and Baby Loves You and Fly Michelle and Heaven or Hell and all this material. We can do that for you. Or if you want, we can call it the Beatles Rock Show, and we'll play nothing but Beatles songs the whole set. And I think people would be pleasantly surprised to see that. As a matter of fact, we just tried it recently in Denver, Colorado. Sold out show. The fans were crying out in the crowd. those songs are just absolutely timeless beyond belief. And to play them live like we're doing it, because there's not many bands that I think we're the only band that's ever put out a whole record with nothing but Beatles songs. There's other groups out there that have covered Beatles. Like I know that Cheap Trick did it, and they did a residency in Vegas. And on their records, they've one or two Beatles songs they played throughout their career. Stone Temple Pilots was another band. Styx did it too as well. But no one's ever done it like this. So I like it. We're navigating waters that we've never swam in before. It's quite a challenge, but I think that we can go out there and we can take the show on the road, and it'll help add on to what we do live in concert. Yeah, if you want an Enuff Z'Nuff set, great. If you want a Beatles set, we can do that, or we can do both for you. We can play for hours and hours, and it'll be no problem. And what a celebration of life that would be, huh?
I'd love to see that. I was going to ask you, because I got the chance to see you guys live for the very first time, which is shocking to me that it took this long, because I was a teenager in the 80s, so that I never got to see you guys live kind of blows me away at my age. But I got to see you on the quarantine tour with Faster Pussycat for the first time. So it was an awesome show here in Charlotte. And I was going to ask you, are you going to take this on the road, and are we going to do a whole Beatles tour thing, or at least like a set 1, set 2 kind of thing, maybe? Because I think either way you do it, it's a winner.
I believe we're going to do that, dear. Only time will tell, because there's quite a few shows that are coming through the pipeline for 2022. We still have another 8 or 9 dates this year. We've toured a lot more than most bands. We were the human guinea pigs when we first went out. I think we took the tour out in June with Pussycat. We were out all June, all July, and half of August. That's a long tour. And it wasn't like the old days, we're in a $500,000 tour bus or flying on Learjets. We're down and dirty in a 15-seat passenger van with all the equipment and 5 guys piled in. Tori Stoff-Reagan, my guitar player, Daniel Benjamin Hill, Tony Fennell, myself, and our road manager, Beasley. That was it. And we were able to have great shows. The fans showed up every place we played. Texas was fantastic. The whole Midwest, wonderful times. Everybody was jonesing to get out there and celebrate. That was a very successful tour for us. I think the next endeavor is going to be a little bit different than what we've normally done, where we go out with bands that are like-minded, with rock bands that play hard rock and heavy metal. I believe the next one's going to be like a new wave 80s tour, where there'll be 4 or 5 bands on it. We're really going to, consolidation's the name of the game. We're going to go out on a nice big tour and do 7 or 8 weeks on this record. And we'll probably just mix it up, to be honest with you, where we'll do Enuff Z'Nuff songs along with the songs off this Beatle record.
Awesome. I can't wait to hopefully see that. Now, the Beatles, they've got such a huge catalog of songs, and then you've got John's solo stuff and Paul's solo stuff. How hard was it to choose the songs to do and to pick them out?
That wasn't hard at all. The Beatles catalog they have out on Spotify, they have 250, 300 songs out as well. A lot of material to sift through and find, and it's all fabulous songs that are timeless. That wasn't a difficult challenge. What we did was, unconsciously, we recorded all the songs that were from 67 through. And anything behind 67, we didn't touch.
Okay. And
maybe perhaps we unwittingly will do that in the future. But right now it was all songs that were from the White Album and Magical Mystery Tour. That was our template right there. And then we said, well, maybe we should mix it in with a couple of the Beatles tracks that were solo stuff, like the John Lennon's solo record when he did Cold Turkey.
I love that one. I love the way you guys did that.
Yeah, fabulous record right there. And it shows our blues roots right there. And Lennon and the Beatles, those guys used to come to Chicago. They loved the Windy City because you had Paul Butterfield, Muddy Waters, Buddy Guy. There's a lot of blues out here, and they really showed their pardon me. There's a bunch of guys in the background doing plumbing work here. There's a lot of good stuff that was the Beatles were experimenting with back in those early days. And then we said, well, we're going to take a Lennon song off the Shea Fish record. Maybe we should go over and do something off Paul McCartney and Wings. And there was not a better song to pick than Jet. Loved the stuff that he did with Linda McCartney. It's a fantastic track, and we knew it would be a good single, and that is coincidentally that's going to be the first single on this new album.
Okay,
And
cool.
we'll do a video for that as well. But the first two tracks we put out there, Cold Turkey and Back in the USSR, we did animated videos for those with our buddy Wayne Joyner out in Los Angeles. And those are good representation on what the record's all about. It's a band in the studio playing live, not a lot of overdubs. We want to make sure that when we record these songs, we can reproduce them live.
Absolutely. Awesome. Now, was it intimidating at all? To think, hey, I'm doing these Beatles songs and it's because it's the Beatles.
Yeah, of course it is. It's the greatest band of our generation. Of course it was a difficult challenge. But when I went in the studio, I sang them like I'm singing them live. I wasn't punching in notes and let's go to this verse and let me re-sing this. I just sing them like I would sing them in concert. And then of course, we went in with the minimal overdubs and did some harmonies, but we didn't go crazy on the record. And I did it on purpose. I certainly didn't want to do something where I couldn't reproduce it live, A, and B, I think that showing the band playing just live without all the bells and whistles was going to be much more beneficial to us in the long run. And after we listened to the record, and after it was mixed by Kris over in Chicago, he did Alice Cooper and Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne. He nailed it. He pulled out some vintage equipment, and we plugged into some Leslie's and ran stuff into the bathroom, and it was just a fantastic experience right there, because it just goes to show you can make a record without using all the special technology that's out there and really come up with something special because of the songs. The sum is bigger than the parts. These Beatles songs are timeless, and man, there's nothing like going in there and recording songs that aren't yours. No pressure of having to write anything. They've already been written. It's already been said. It's just a matter of getting great performances at the end of the day. And I think we nailed it in this record, dear.
I think you did. I think it's an awesome record. When you said you went in there and you tried to do it minimally, overdubs as much as possible, things like that. And it's cool because that's how the Beatles had to do it. A lot of the technology we have now, they never dreamed of having back when they were recording it. So I think it's great that you guys just kind of went in and jammed it out, and the way you recorded it and the way the record sounds is what we're going to get to hear when you guys hit up the road and we get to hear these songs live again.
Years ago, I was on tour with Alice Cooper, Foreigner, Billy Squier, and The Fix. We were doing a bunch of shows. We had a single out at the time called Baby Loves You off our Strength record. And it was 100,000 people at the one show we played in Florida. And my guitar player showed up late at the gig, and we were going to get kicked off the shows because of he wasn't around. We couldn't do a 3-piece. We really needed his guitar playing. And I went over to all the trailers, everybody. I talked to Alice. I said, yeah, can we go on after you guys? My guitar player's not here. And Alice was like, yeah, you guys, no problem. I gotta take a red eye out of here at the end of the night anyway. We have no problem with that. And Billy Squier was cool with it. And Foreigner was great. They said, well, we're headlining, but you guys want to go on before us? That's great. You're only going to get 20 minutes. And I said, oh man, 20 minutes. And Mick Jones said to me, Chip, the Beatles did it in 20 minutes. So can Enuff Z'Nuff. So we went out there and we did Revolution, Baby Loves You, New Thing, and Fly Michelle. That was our set 4 songs. And then afterwards, we were talking, Mick and I, and he goes, where are you staying? I told him where I was at. He happened to be staying in the same hotel. So he came to my room to hang out, and we had some girls in the room hanging out with us as well. And we're just having a great time, having a few cocktails, telling stories about the old days of Foreigner and Cheap Trick. And, he's a great storyteller, Mick. He's a really smart guy. And he goes, you know how I learned how to write songs? I said, no. He says, I hung out with the Beatles for 6 months in the studio with the Beatles and George Martin while they were making records. And I said, that's fascinating, bro. I go, were the guys partying? He goes, not really. He goes, we snuck in the closet. We smoked a little bit of pot. He goes, for the most part, it was just the Beatles in there recording these songs. I go, how did they do it? He goes, just like you record a record live. They were all playing at the same time, having a great time. And then, of course, George might come in there and do some slide guitar, or Paul might go and do a harmony with John. But for the most part, those basic tracks were just the band getting a good performance. And I thought that's a great template for making any kind of records for anybody, let alone doing a redo of the Beatles songs, and it's not a tribute record, by the way. It's our own rendition through my rose-colored glasses on how we hear these songs, and it fits along the narrative of today's day and age of a rock band playing in the studio the right way with Les Pauls and Marshall amps and Mesa Boogie amps and big drums and just trying to find your groove. And I think we did it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's going to come out next week on the 12th, CD and digital. And then you've got a little surprise limited edition for December 10th coming out. And it's going to be an album. So you can get an LP for this too. And it's going to be white, of course, right? What else would it be?
I talked to my guy, Nick Teeter, over at Frontiers. He goes, "What color you want the record?" I said, he goes, there's problems making albums right now, getting different colors, finding the right colors to dye this vinyl. And I said, "How about a white record? Is that anything that's anybody done?" He goes, Nick says, "That's a fantastic idea. Let me look into it." And lo and behold, he goes, "White's the way we're going to go." And I said, that's it, my friend. And no pun intended, because obviously there's a couple songs from the White album that are on this record that we're playing. And I think people are going to be blown away when they hear Back in the USSR or Dear Prudence. Boy, our version of it. We weren't trying to make it where radio would play this, by the way. We just made these songs and we thought about live, how we would go out and perform these songs in concert. And some of the songs are 6 minutes long. That's okay. It makes for a longer celebration.
Absolutely.
And I hope we get a chance to perform them live in concert next year on this next big tour that we got coming up. I don't hear many radio stations grabbing onto this, although I just did the Beatles channel over at Sirius XM, which was fabulous. And they showcased the first 3 songs for us in front of their millions of people. But I'm on a radio station every single day. I'm on Dash Radio, dashradio.com. You can download the app, and it's real simple to get. We have 30 million subscribers, and it's satellite radio, but it's a new satellite. It's free. I'm on the Monsters of Rock on channel 502 with Rudy Sarzo and Carrie Stevens and Claudia Comedy. And Sammy Hager's on. He's got his own show. It's a fabulous program, and we play nothing but hard rock and heavy metal 24/7, 365 days of the year. And it's the whole alphabet, A through Z, of rock and roll metal. So, I might be playing Guns N' Roses or Queen or Metallica, Iron Maiden, but I'm also playing Greta Van Fleet and Dirty Honey and Rival Sons. So it's a great station that really celebrates rock and metal. And they've added the Beatle Rock Show, this Hard Rock Nite record, onto their playlist. And the first single is going to be Jet, and that's out right now as well. So I see radio stations I wouldn't think we'd play these songs. They're embracing it beyond belief. It's pretty gratifying for me to have a record out playing my favorite band and getting some airplay on it too. And then also people talking about it. It's great.
Absolutely. It's awesome. We'll have to check that out and download that app so we can get dashing as well. Sounds fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. It's a terrific, terrific record, and I can't wait to hear these songs live. So get that tour going.
Charlotte, North Carolina. What
Absolutely.
a great place. In those old days, I remember touring there and playing the colleges, smothered like a bum on a bologna sandwich with the women. It was just a fantastic time in life back then. And to be back there this year was Faster Pussycat was great. I thank everybody out there. Beautiful country out there, beautiful city, lovely people. And I want to say a quick shout out. I do it in every interview to our nurses, our military, our doctors, our firemen, our police. Everybody out there is keeping us safe on the front lines. God bless them all. And I wish everybody a happy holiday season.
Thank you so much, Chip. Have a great day.
Thank you, dear.
Bye.
Cheers.